From ancient times up until now, there have been what's known as mystery schools. These are the secret centers for occult learning where one went through years of training in order to undergo initiation. And for most of human history, one could only get such training through these centers, until now. In the past, spiritual communications had to be imparted in secret esoteric schools because thinking was not cultivated as it is today. Today, we must combine spirituality with the force of thinking by which we kindle the thoughts so they live. Rudolf Steiner. Initiation into the mysteries was once guarded with secrecy and special mystery schools. But now, in the epoch of ego consciousness, all that's changing. These steps require patience, perseverance, and persistence, but they're simple and straightforward. And if you're able to stick with the path, you just might find yourself one day with spiritual vision. And that's what I'm going to explain in this video. I'm going to go over the 6 crucial conditions for occult training that have been passed down since ancient times. And I'm also going to show you a unique practice at the end of it. Let's dig in. The following practical steps are more so preliminary conditions that one must cultivate on the path to initiation. And actually, they're indispensable because if one thinks they can tread the path without developing a certain harmony within themselves, they're deeply mistaken. To do so would mean a distortion in one's spiritual sight. But it's important to note that esoteric training doesn't actually give you any spiritual forces. It only removes the obstacles that block the potential already within you. So we divide man's inner makeup into 3 centers: thinking, feeling, and willing. The willing center just makes up your physical actions. So when we talk about inner work or development, we're usually targeting one or a combination of these 3 centers: thinking, feeling, and willing. The first condition is the control of thought. Students should regulate the sequence of their thoughts. Thought upon thought should follow a logical, consistent order, and any illogical or random thoughts should disappear from your mind. So if you should hear any illogical thoughts, you should immediately let the right thoughts pass through your mind. But just because you're around people who are illogical, it doesn't mean you should avoid them. Nor should you avoid situations because someone is being illogical. But in your mind, you should work out the illogical and put it in a logical sequence. And also aim to do this in your own thoughts as well. The most important thing in the thinking center of man in regards to spiritual training is objectivity. In spiritual worlds, the whole sense perceptible world and all that you know by association with this physical world falls away. And without the physical world, you don't have the action-reaction of physicality to course correct that you're used to. For example, you couldn't just walk through a wall in the physical world because of the laws that govern matter. You'd very quickly be made to realize that you just can't go through the wall. The physical matter would stop you immediately. This material action-reaction mechanism is totally absent in the spiritual world. So having objectivity in your thinking is the safety mechanism so that you don't fall into confusion in the spiritual world. So the first thing is that you must be able to think objectively and rationally. The second condition is the control of our actions or will. This must attain to the same logical consistency which we train our thoughts to follow. Any illogical or random actions must be banished from our lives. In regular life, without occult training, we are usually driven to satisfy our needs immediately. But as students of the occult, you must be accustomed to be less and less ruled by outer circumstances and make the I the ruler. When you don't have control of your actions and will, you're just unconsciously pulled to satisfy one desire after another. And when your higher ego is about to emerge, you need a will that is intentional. Otherwise, you risk bringing disorder to your higher ego. And this cultivation of logical consistency brings your will a certain force. But we need to deepen this force, and that brings us to our third condition. The third condition is the cultivation of perseverance or endurance. This is critical because of all the influences and friction that will try to divert you from the path. As an occult student, once you have decided something and you have deemed it to be the right course of action, you should do it without looking back. But it's not like you cannot course correct if you realize that you did something wrong. It's that we must be honest with ourselves here and not make any excuses in the faces of difficulty. Obstacles become challenges that we overcome, not reasons for giving up. If you notice, the 3 exercises we just mentioned all target one of the 3 main centers. Control of thoughts targets thinking, control of actions targets willing, and perseverance targets our feeling. This is crucial to the work on yourself because you'll come to realize that we always target one or a combination of these 3 main centers: thinking, feeling, and willing. The 4th condition is tolerance towards all people, creatures, and circumstances. You must suppress any excess criticism of all that is imperfect, evil, and bad, but try rather to put yourself in others' shoes and understand their point of view. You remember the 3 centers of thinking, feeling, and willing? Well, this condition of tolerance is designed to target 2 of the centers together. It targets the thinking and feeling in you because you must first catch yourself in not thinking negative thoughts about someone or something. Thoughts are always the fastest to be perceived. Then, when you catch yourself, you must try not to express the inner emotion of unpleasantness. Emotions are always a little bit slower than thoughts to be perceived. So, you see, in this way, you start working with the thinking and feeling centers in you. And this is very important to start targeting 2 or more centers together. Now, in order to target the other 2, thinking and willing, this next condition is also required. This 5th condition we bring to maturity through our thoughts linked with our will. You do this by approaching every new situation with an open mind or unbiased receptivity. You should always be ready to take a new point of view on what you previously knew. And never believe something is impossible without first having an open mind and also examining it. Above all, there must be faith in the possibility that new experiences may contradict the old ways, and that we can always learn something new from the world. Through your thinking, we examine and we analyze. Through our will, we have to be ready for the new experiences or perspectives. This gradually builds faith in the student. Faith in the power of one's intentions. 100 failures cannot rob a student of this faith. This is the faith that can move mountains that's talked about in the Bible. Okay, if you're still with me, I appreciate you, and this last requirement is of utmost importance. Although it's probably the hardest of them all, hence why it's last, if you can master all 5 of the previous requirements, you'll already have come pretty far. But the force that you gain will be temporary, and you can only fix all that force in yourself by doing this. And with the 6th requirement, we fix in ourselves by achieving a certain inner balance or equanimity. In doing this, you bring all the exercises above into harmonious functioning in the soul. They'll need to be practiced simultaneously in pairs or 3 in 1. For example, positiveness with the control of the impulses of will. Doing them in this way brings thinking, feeling, and willing into harmony. And to fix the forces that you gain from the 5 conditions separately, whoever carries out these exercises will reveal a lot about themselves. And with persistence, one will notice certain changes taking effect. For example, if you used to be shy and nervous speaking in front of a group, you might find yourself having courage or faith in your own abilities. Your life will begin to align itself to a definite direction. The direction is the way to the higher self and the path to being able to see into the spirit worlds. However, these are actually preliminary conditions. There are more exercises that a student must go through in order to attain sight into spiritual world. However, these exercises that I explained do pertain to real occult practice, and the student, who is persistent and most of all patient in their efforts, will be able to find the way to higher occult learning. One last exercise that is indispensable, it's that during a period of time every day, the student must establish a period of complete tranquility. Everything that affects us externally must be banished from our souls. During this time, everything that life brings us, all the sorrows, all the joys, all the duties, demands, must be banished from our soul. In this way, we are able to observe ourselves as if we were observing another person that is not ourselves. You view yourself with the same degree of indifference as you would another person. With this ability to observe yourself, you gradually elevate yourself to not only what concerns you, but humanity in general. And you attain communications from the spiritual world. Because if you can be just as interested in the concerns of humanity as the concerns of yourself, then your soul will gather from that a fruit of special value. That's it for this video. I hope you found value in this, and until next time.